Hi, good evening, everyone. Congratulations, all of you, for making it through another action-packed O&A conference with your voices and livers intact, I hope. Okay, some more than others, some more than others. It's not an easy feat. These past few days have been amazing, right? Yeah. Let's take a moment before we get started with everything to give a hand to the incredible O&A staff and the army of volunteers that made all this magic happen. So tonight, we're here to recognize the best works of online journalism from the last year. And every year, the projects and the stories that make it to this level, they get better and better, and it makes choosing the winners more and more difficult. I really hope that once you guys get home, you'll take the time to check out all the stories that have been nominated and that win tonight, and then you can actually experience a little bit more of this for yourselves. So taking us on this journey tonight is our MC, Nyla Boodoo. Yeah. She's gonna need that, yes? More applause. Nyla's the host and executive producer of The 21st, an award-winning public radio talk show broadcasting weekdays and markets across the great state of Illinois. She's been a journalist for more than 15 years, reporting from London, Washington, Chicago, and Miami. Please join me in welcoming Nyla to the stage.
Thanks, Mandy. Hi, everyone. How are you doing this evening? All right, good. Everyone's been hitting the bar. That is good. Before we start, can we give a round of applause to all of our servers for the wonderful meal that we had? Thank you. I'm so glad to be your host this evening. I have to make a confession. I'm pretty sure that I am a backup host. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but there have been quite a few male public radio hosts who've made some abrupt exits from the industry lately. Anyway, thanks for the opportunity. Tonight, we're here to celebrate all of your hard work. This has been another great year for innovation in our industry. Whether we're talking about AI, data visualization, or VR, we're finding new ways to tell our stories. And just as fast as we do that, social media is finding new ways not to share it. Algorithms, am I right? I'm just kidding. Tonight, we really are here to celebrate all of your incredible work, and there are such amazing stories that are out there to tell. I know, and I hope that you know, how valuable the work is that we do. It's essential. And like me, I hope O&A has been a time for you to recharge, maybe make some new friends, hang out with some old ones, and get inspired. Or maybe you're exhausted from the partying and won't be happy until you found out if you won an O&A award. So let's get right to it, shall we? Some of tonight's awards come with cash prizes, a total of nearly $59,000. Yeah. So, and we want to thank the folks who made that possible, the Gannett Foundation, the Knight Foundation, Journalism 360, and the University of Florida College of Journalism and Communications. Additionally, this year, the Democracy Fund sponsored a new Micro Newsroom General Excellence Award. Well, yeah, that allowed newsrooms that had 15 or fewer staff to enter the competition free of charge. Let's take a moment to thank all of our sponsors. Thanks also to O&A board member and OJA chair, P. Kim Bowie, and her partner in crime. We want to thank also her partner in crime, David Smidra from Google News. Is David around somewhere? And last but not least, we so appreciate all the volunteer judges and screeners who spent many hours making some very hard decisions. There were more than 120 screeners. They reviewed more than 1,100 entries, and another 26 judges made the calls on finalists and winners. So all the screeners and judges who were in the room, if you can please stand up. And another round of applause for all of the folks who did that. Let's get some requisite housekeeping out of the way for the winners. Please make your way swiftly to the left side of the stage. You'll use that podium to make your remarks, and you'll also exit from that left side. We are videotaping this event, so for the cameras, if you can remove your name badges before you come on stage. This is a crowd of millennials, so I know how this works. I'm not going to say there are any losers here. We'll just say, can I have all the first runner-ups? Or if you're, I'm just kidding. If you're a finalist, go ahead and remove your badge now so you don't forget to do that later. And for that one person who does not have their phone permanently on silent, I know this is O&A, but there's got to be one person, please silence your phone. Let's get started. With explanatory reporting, this honors entries that do more than tell people the news. They help people understand the news. In the small grouping, the finalists are Three Rivers Rising, public source. Nuclear negligence, the Center for Public Integrity. Dangerous deliveries, the Texas Tribune. The judges said the winning entry was a clear explanation of the issues that were specific to the audience, providing resources for people confronting the challenges and a variety of digital media work, including offline tools. And the winner is Dangerous Deliveries, the Texas Tribune.
I thought I might have had more time. I'm sorry. Thank you so much. It's funny because when I first heard the news we were finalists, I always hoped that I would do the work that's the caliber for an O&A award. I think it's easy to say that awards don't matter, but to me, an O&A award definitely matters because you know the caliber of work that goes into getting nominated to even put the proposal together. And for Dangerous Deliveries, we're hoping that with the project, it's going to help Texas women for many, many years to come, from our resource guide to our prenatal postpartum questionnaire, but all of that could not have been done by just me. It was a combination of me and the data team and the editors and the art team and all of that. So it's a matter of the Texas Tribune not only believing in me as a reporter, but believing in me and my ideas. And I can never thank them enough for that. Thank you.
Let's go to medium-sized outlets. The finalists are Dirty Gold, Clean Cash, the Miami Herald. Walking While Black, the Florida Times-Union and ProPublica. Project Nora, the Oregonian, Oregon Live. The judges said, whoops. The judges said the story is an engaging digital package that guides the audience through a complex network of organized crime and illustrates the environmental and human devastation fueled by Western demand for illicit gold. And the winner is Dirty Gold, Clean Cash, the Miami Herald.
Well, thanks a lot, and thanks, Nyla. This is a really unusual project. I guess you would assume that everything that gets smuggled through Miami, but we were surprised to learn in the course of reporting that gold is mined illegally in Latin America and actually processed in Miami, and that's a way, the latest way that money gets laundered by cartels. This took a team. We're a newsroom that punches way above its weight, but our Latin American correspondent, Jim Wiss, our investigative reporter, Nick Nehamas, our federal courts reporter, Jay Weaver, 3 videographers, Pedro Portal, Jose Iglesias, and also our data visualization expert, Aaron Albright, put this package together. It was really brilliant work, and It's great to be recognized. It's a problem that needs to be fixed. I also would like to thank the Pope. I don't think it hurt that the week after our series ran, Pope Francis went to Peru to identify this as a problem. So thanks, Your Holiness.
Is that the first time Pope Francis has been thanked at the O&As? In the large division, the finalists for explanatory reporting are California's Power Glut, the LA Times; The Wall, the Arizona Republic, USA Today Network; Boston, Racism, Image, Reality, the Boston Globe; North Korea, the Washington Post. Here's what impressed the judges. In a category with stiff competition, the winning story immersed readers into one of the biggest topics of the year, immigration and border security. What most impressed judges wasn't just the breadth of the storytelling techniques, but also how effectively each of these techniques were deployed to place readers on the border. This deep dive, as a whole, illuminated both the physical and emotional realities of borders. And the winner is The Wall, the Arizona Republic, USA Today Network.
Like so many great stories, The Wall started with questions. Could a wall be built? What would the unintended consequences be? This story led us on a trip like no other, and what was most remarkable about it was what we relearned about journalism. We learned that stories are best told when you get out into the real world, even if it means taking risks and accepting costs. It means that data is best used when it can be shown for all to appreciate across multiple platforms. The most important thing that we learned was that the work that we do is best done when we do it together. I'd like to accept this, we accept this award with great, great gratitude for all of our editors, our journalists across every border state, every time zone, and they literally put their lives on the line to report this story. We thank you deeply.
Let's continue now with Excellence in Audio Digital Storytelling. This award honors exceptional efforts in telling stories through digitally focused audio media, whether that's podcasts, audio-focused online works, or other emerging media. Finalists in the small division are Bundyville Long Reads and Oregon Public Broadcasting; The New American Songbook, The Ground Truth Project; She Says, WFAE, Charlotte's NPR news source. The judges loved how refreshingly divergent this winner was from other entries in the category. They took a risk, and it is a uniquely native audio experience. Hearing different voices, accents, and songs from immigrants left the judges with a deeper understanding of how culture is richer in America because of their contributions. And the winner is The New American Songbook, The Ground Truth Project.
Wow, thank you. I'm Charlie Sennett. I'm the founder of the Ground Truth Project. Ground Truth Project's about supporting a new generation of journalists, and this podcast was done by extraordinary talent from a new generation. I'm so sorry they're not here. They should be up here. Too many to thank, but the key people are Heidi Shin and Ian Coates, who were the two reporters who came to us with this idea. And we just loved it right away because telling the story of America is about telling the story of immigrants. Thank you. And there's no better way to honor their stories, I think, than through their music, their culture, which really sustains them. It was just an honor to work on it. I love our podcast. I'm honored to be the host, but the work is always done by the reporters. And as everyone who's done a podcast knows, it's done by the team that produces it. Our team leader is Rachel Rohr. She's in Michigan on a fellowship, or she would be here, but if any of you know her, she's amazing, and she really made this all happen. I also just want to say thanks. We had a lot of support for this. MacArthur Foundation, thank you. WGBH, our partner and our co-producer of the podcast, thank you. Amazing place for us, because that's where we have our home, so thank you. And just want to say thanks to everyone out there who supports nonprofit journalism. We need the support. Thank you.
Okay, the medium-large division for excellence in audio-digital storytelling. The finalists are Strange Bird, Experimental Podcast and Player, Guardian Mobile Innovation Lab. Repeat, KPCC, Southern California Public Radio. Prosecutor Niesman, Phone Interceptions Mapped in Playlists, La Nación, Argentina. In Harvey's Wake, the Texas Tribune, Reveal from the Center for Investigative Reporting, and PRX. The Wall Street Journal's Innovation in Audio Storytelling, The Wall Street Journal. Judges said that the winner of this had an amazing project that used audio in a unique way, making it a standout, deserving special recognition. And the winner is Prosecutor Niesman, Phone Interceptions Mapped in Playlists, La Nación.
Wow, thank you. A prosecutor was found dead, and 40,000 audios from what he was investigated were leaked. We downloaded everything, and what we did, what we love to do, make a database. So we heard the 40,000, thanks to our Open News Fellows that built both data, a platform to collaborate. And we asked for help, the universities, the NGOs, and volunteers. So we reached and we selected and published 200, making a playlist to serve our audience best with different categories to navigate these audios. The judges asked for our investigation, our data set, and that was for us an excellent way to serve our audience. So thank you, ONA, for recognizing us. We really appreciate this. We want to thank our team in Buenos Aires of data journalism and data visualization that are so passionate, that are always innovating and making a breakthrough. So thank you very much. Flor. A fellow now. Thank you.
It's time now for the University of Florida Awards for Investigative Data Journalism. To present them, please welcome the director of the Innovation News Center at UF's College of Journalism and Communications, Myra Lowe.
Good evening, everyone. So on behalf of the University of Florida College of Journalism and Communications, I am pleased to recognize tonight's finalists and winners of the Award in Investigative Data Journalism. This award, made possible by the estate of Lorraine Dingman, salutes high-impact journalism that effectively uses and presents data to tell the most critical stories of our time. UF is honored to present this award in partnership with ONA, who shares our commitment to the excellence in data reporting. The winning organizations will each receive a $7,500 prize. Winners will be invited to the College of Journalism and Communications in the spring to discuss their work and to share their expertise with our faculty and our students. They will also spend some time in the Innovation News Center with students to share the expertise, to mentor, and to help them with developing their own ideas around data journalism. And so now let's get to the awards. The finalists in the small medium newsroom category are Too Broke for Bankruptcy, ProPublica. Walking While Black, Florida Times Union and ProPublica. And The Taking, the Texas Tribune and ProPublica. The judges said of the winning entry, an impactful and powerful data story that becomes especially relatable and humanized through great digital storytelling, including excellent video and smart quiz elements. It demonstrates how local data journalism projects can make a huge difference in communities and beyond. And the winner is Walking While Black, Florida Times Union, and ProPublica.
So in Jacksonville, Florida's most populous city, there are many ways to get tickets for walking. In fact, there are 28 statutes, which includes, jaywalking, makes sense, but also crossing the street at the wrong angle or crossing against a yellow light. The sheriff's office issues hundreds of pedestrian citations, and they say it helps save lives in a city with one of the highest pedestrian death rates in the country. So my colleagues at ProPublica and the Florida Times Union found that it doesn't really work like that. What we did find, however, was a relationship between the tickets issued and race. Black people are nearly 3 times as likely as white people to get these tickets. And residents of the city's 3 poorest zip codes are about 6 times as likely as people living in more affluent parts of the city. And the tickets have consequences. Jaywalking sounds kind of trivial, but if these tickets are left unpaid, they can affect people's credit and lead to driver's license suspensions. My coworkers, Topher Sanders, Ben Konark at the Florida Times Union, Kate Rabinowitz, Lucas Waldron, and Ranjani Chakraborty documented hundreds of times that this had happened. The sheriff's office has taken note of the work that we've been doing, sometimes in an argumentative way, but we sincerely hope that they continue to do that. And thanks very much to ONA for the recognition.
So on to the large newsroom category. The finalists are Death and Dysfunction in J Advanced Media. Bust Out, How America Moves Its Homeless, The Guardian US. The Follower Factory, The New York Times. And the number of students who have experienced gun violence at school since Columbine, The Washington Post. The judges said of the winning entry was a good shoe leather reporting, data reporting, told in a compelling way. A truly impressive story with great visualizations, and the project gives readers a way to act on what they've read. And the winner is Bust Out, How America Moves Its Homeless, The Guardian US.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sarah Schmalbach. This is Sasha Koren. We're actually representatives for the team who worked on this project at the Guardian US, and we just wanted to read a few comments from our colleagues who aren't here tonight. So Alistair G., who kind of led up this project, said that he wanted to say a very big thank you to the wonderful team of journalists who created the project over many months, the Gates Foundation for supporting their work on the homelessness, Rachel White and the rest of the Guardian's philanthropy team, and finally to the subjects of his pieces who've endured great hardship and were gracious enough to share their stories with him. So we're glad to accept this award in his honor, and thank you very much for the recognition. Thank you.
Thanks, Myra. Now to the online commentary category, which honors unique and powerful voices of commentary original to the web. And no, I am not talking about Kim Kardashian. Have you guys heard there's a podcast called Serial? This year's online commentary finalists are 7 Steps to Save 27,000 Lives, the Boston Globe. Nicholas Kristof and colleagues, the New York Times. Judges said coverage of 2 stories in particular, California death row inmate Kevin Cooper and ethnic cleansing along the southeast border in Bangladesh, are master mixes of reporting, opinion, and evidence, in which the writing, design direction, and coding blend effortlessly, pushing boundaries to support and illustrate the intricacies of op-ed pieces. And the winner is Nicholas Kristof and colleagues, the New York Times.
Hi, I am not Nick Kristof. I am more the colleague part of it. So Nick can't be with us tonight, but it is my pleasure to accept this award on his behalf. And on behalf of Adam Ellick, Stuart Thompson, Sarah Barrett, Jasiah Ma, Bill Marsh, and Jonah Kessel, who worked with Nick in all these wonderful projects. Nick's work this year covered issues both abroad, like malnourished children in Yemen, the looming threat of war with North Korea, genocide in Myanmar, and issues at home like the plague of gun violence and the gripping story of Kevin Cooper, awaiting execution on death row in California and likely framed by the police. We're very proud of Nick's work and very honored to be in the company of such wonderful nominees. Thank you.
Next up, we have breaking news. This category is to honor digital coverage when an unplanned news event breaks. In the small newsroom category, there was just 1 finalist, so you can make a guess who the winner is. The judges love not just the breaking news elements, but the community impact of the work. The storytelling, they said, puts news in context, and the audio impact and community discussions give it real texture. This year's award goes to Austin Serial Bombings, KUT Austin.
Wow, thanks, y'all. I'm Andrew Weber. I'm a digital reporter producer. My editor, Stephanie Federico, couldn't be here otherwise. I wish she were, because she would have to do this whole speech thing. But this was, we complain a lot as internet humans, we call ourselves. It's hard to get people to care about a story and put it online. And with this story, just the importance of it was not the case at all. This is an entire newsroom effort. Everybody contributed, so don't remember me, just remember KUT, the newsroom. Thanks, appreciate it, y'all.
In the medium newsroom category, the finalists for breaking news are Thomas Fire Coverage, KPCC, Southern California Public Radio. Collapse of the Florida International University Bridge, the Miami Herald. Wine Country Wildfires, San Francisco Chronicle, and Hearst. The judges appreciated that the winning entry was breaking news in the purest sense, the kind of unexpected and unfortunate event that no newsroom can be fully prepared for. But the judges were impressed by not just the depth, but scope of the solo reporter on the scene and what that reporter was able to collect and distribute. The stories were updated frequently with care for accuracy. Coverage was mobile first by design and function. Use of social media, they said, was thoughtful and contextual. Likewise, the stories and video clips were thorough and probing. And the winner is the collapse of the FIU Bridge, the Miami Herald.
Well, thanks again. It's kind of nice up here. So at 1:47 p.m. on March 15th, 2018, a bridge collapsed over a busy street in Miami. It was a pedestrian bridge that was being built to carry students from one side, a residential side of the community, to the university itself. It was designed to be a signature statement for the university and something that would make it safer for students to cross the street. 5 people died immediately when that bridge collapsed on their cars. Another one, a worker, died in that accident as well. We posted our first tweet 9 minutes after the collapse. Within 12 minutes, we had reporters and photographers on the scene, tweeting out photos and videos. I will tell you, I've been a part of a lot of breaking news stories in Miami, from hurricanes to riots. I've never been more proud of a staff and never seen one respond with such intensity. In the first 36 hours, we published more than a dozen stories. We identified who the responsible parties were. And since that time, we've continued to report on this story. In terms of investigations, we've been in court to get more documents. We learned that the very morning the bridge collapsed, the engineering team met to try to figure out why there were cracks on the bridge. And when it collapsed, they were trying to adjust the tensioning of the bridge. And there'll be more to that story. Our reporter on the scene, Monique Modan, did brilliant work, but she was just part of a full newsroom effort. And so we really appreciate this recognition. And again, I couldn't be more proud of the staff of the Miami Herald. So thank you.
And Rick is too modest to add. I'm going to add, because this is my former newsroom, that this all happened a couple weeks after Parkland. So it was right after the Parkland tragedy. How long was it, Rick? 2 weeks? 1 month and 1 day, yeah. In the breaking news large newsroom category, the finalists are the search operation of the submarine Ara, San Juan, La Nacion. The Vegas massacre, the New York Times. Horror on Yonge Street, the Toronto Star. The judges called this entry the gold standard for how breaking news ought to be covered. The updates came quickly, were accurate, and authoritative. This outlet's frequent exclusives meant they led the pack. Journalists collected and verified social accounts from the event to recreate the scene, lending much-needed context to an inexplicable event. Graphics, audio, and maps produced within 36 hours of this event were impressive and allowed readers to fully understand the extent of the horror. And the winner is the Vegas Massacre, the New York Times.
I had nothing to do with this project. I actually work in London, and I was chosen. And this is my first ONA convention. And you guys throw a great party. Thank you very much. So I'd like to get serious for a moment. I'm proud to accept this award because I was in London when this happened. And when I had landed in London, I think I've endured like 5 terror attacks. I landed in March, and then they just kept coming. And my family kept calling me, "Are you okay? You left New York for this?" So this team, and I'm a fan of a lot of them, put together something that I had never seen before. They used found video. This was about bullets, bomb stock devices, a mysterious high roller in Vegas, which should be one of the happiest places on the planet, right? And what they did was examine not only a very complex issue that's rattling America today, right? Gun control. What I guess footballers call flooded the zone. I mean, it involved more than 40 reporters. The coverage stretched to the Philippines. And they helped illuminate not just what happened that night, the events that led up to it, and examine once again the toll, victims, families, and so forth. So I'd like to just mention a few of the names of the people who did this because they're not here, they're working, and they're really cool people. We're talking reporters like Jenny Medina, C.J. Chivers, Adam Goldman, Sherry Fink, photographers, designers, graphic editors, and I really want to highlight the work done by people like the video journalists like Malaki Brown, Drew Jordan, Nicole Feynman, Chris Cirillo, who brilliantly mapped those fateful 10 minutes when Stephen Paddock from the 32nd floor of the Mandalay Bay set his sights on what should be one of the happiest times in Vegas, a country music concert, killing 58 people, injuring more than 500. And really, once again, we have to go through this process. So they use story forms old and new to sort of push the boundaries. I mean, this honors breaking news, right? But this is really an award about innovation. And those guys push the boundaries so far that I'm in awe of them, and the women too, of course. But I also want to point out that we're proud to be in this category with these finalists, because if you look at the entries of the Toronto Star and La Nación, we're all trying to pioneer a different, using old-fashioned shoe leather reporting with video, sound, graphics, and doing what human beings do very well, which is tell our stories. The great ones, the uplifting ones, but also the dark ones. And so thank you very much. I hope to be back next year. I hear is it New Orleans? I'm there. Thank you so much. I'm going to try to take this and
It's time now to present ONA's longest running honor, the Knight Award for Public Service. And here to present it, please welcome Rosenthal Alves, the director of the Knight Center for Journalism in the Americas at the University of Texas at Austin.
Good evening. Knight Foundation fosters informed and engaged communities, which are essential for a healthy democracy. I am honored to be here tonight on behalf of the Knight Foundation to deliver the Online Journalism Award for Public Service. The finalists are Taking Cover, How Cops Escape Discipline for Shootings in Suburban Chicago, Better Government Association, WBEZ, Lost Mothers, ProPublica and NPR, All Work, No Pay, Review from the Center for Investigative Reporting, Hacking Democracy, The Washington Post. Judges said, this project exposed something many people weren't aware of, capturing an unholy alliance between government and private industry unjustly taking advantage of the defenseless group. It had measurable impact across multiple states and changed businesses' practices. Truly impeccable work. And the winner is All Work, No Pay, review from the Center for Investigative Reporting.
Let me just check some baseball scores here real quickly. I'm Andy Donahue, managing editor at Reveal, and I'm accepting this award on behalf of two absolutely incredible reporters, Amy Julia Harris and Shoshana Walter. And could you just give a round of applause for them since they're not here? Thank you. So there's two things I want you to know about them. One is they are the most incredible team I've ever seen work together. They literally finish each other's sentences. And now one of them works remotely, so that's even more amazing. Like she's on Skype finishing sentences. But they were the most selfless group. They had each other's backs. When they had differences of opinion, they worked it out beautifully. And they just were just this amazing team that you could just see working around the newsroom and was really inspiring for everybody else. And the second thing they are, which I think is the most important thing that a reporter can be, which is relentless. They first came to us with a story pitch for a nugget of what this story was, and we actually turned it down because we thought it was a little too similar to other stories they'd done. And without really telling us, they just kept working on it. Shows you what great editors we are. But they came back. When they came back with an even more amazing story and just an incredibly powerful story about people who were being sort of the most vulnerable people being taken advantage of. And they were also incredibly courageous. They stood up to judges, they stood up to Fortune 500 companies, and they stood up to rehab nonprofits all across the country. I also want to make sure I thank other editors who worked on this story. Cheryl Duvall, who was a senior editor on the radio project, Jennifer LaFleur, Amy Pyle, just incredible journalists all around. Lastly, I just really want to thank the sources for this story. The reporters had to talk to dozens and dozens and dozens of people who are struggling or were struggling with addiction. And these are people that are used to being not heard, used to not being taken seriously and not trusted. And they had everything to lose. And the only reason really they ever stood up and talked and told the truth was because they didn't want what happened to them to happen to other people. And so I just want to thank them, the sources for this story, the sources and our colleagues for all the other incredible stories that were up part of this. But none of this work would be possible without people who are, frankly, more courageous than I think a lot of us would be in those scenarios. So thanks to them.
I wonder if we can stop for a moment and pause before we go to this next award. 42 journalists have been killed doing their jobs this year. 42. I'm not just talking about the Capital Gazette in this country, where 5 staff members were murdered. I'm talking about journalists from Slovakia, the Central African Republic, Mexico, India, Afghanistan, Yemen, and Syria, and that's not all the countries. That's in part why this next award has very special meaning to us. It's the 2018 James Foley Award for Conflict Reporting. Here to present this honor, please welcome Tom Durkin, Program Director for the James W. Foley Legacy Foundation, and the AP's social media editor and chair of the James Foley Selection Committee, Eric Harvin.
Tonight, we at ONA are pleased to present the James Foley Award for Conflict Reporting, given each year to a freelance journalist who honors Jim's legacy through courageous, innovative storytelling that does what Jim did best: show the world what real life is like in the most challenging conflict zones. This year, the award goes to Nicole Tongue. Nicole is a talented and prolific photojournalist based in Istanbul who's told powerful stories about the human experience on 4 continents and who passionately advocates for the rights and safety of colleagues in the freelance community. I have more to say about Nicole, but first, here are a few words from Tom.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm happy to be here on behalf of the James W. Foley Legacy Foundation, and I'm even more happy to be here to represent my friend, Jim Foley. I'm humbled to be part of this. I've seen Nicole's work. I've been impressed by what she's done. I know Diane Foley, the entire board at the Foley Foundation, is overjoyed that she has been selected as this year's recipient. I know Jim respected and admired Nicole and her work, and I know the feeling was mutual that she respected and admired Jim's work. This feels very personal to me in a way. Anyone who's ever met Jim or was his friend, you're immediately part of a family. He brought you in. And today was the very first time that I met Nicole in person after 4 years after we lost Jim. So I feel like I met someone in my family today, which is really, really incredible. Jim would not be comfortable with an award in his name. That's not how he operated, but I know he would be thrilled to know that if there was an award in his name, that it was going to Nicole Tongue. So I'm deeply honored to be here to be able to help present this to Nicole Tongue. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Now let's learn more about Nicole. In her career as a photojournalist, Nicole has traveled from conflict to conflict, from continent to continent. She covered the Arab Spring uprisings in Syria and Libya. She documented pro-democracy protests in her native Hong Kong and the refugee crisis in Europe. She told the stories of Native American war veterans in the US and former child soldiers in the Democratic Republic of Congo. A wonderful thread runs through this impressive body of work: the adept use of powerful visual storytelling to share the humanity of her subjects and the reality of the lives they lead. Visually, Nicole's work is just stunning and incredibly varied. She takes a thoughtful, thematic approach to projects, such as a beautiful series she produced in 2013 on Aleppo at night. Very much in the spirit of ONA, of this award, and of Jim himself, Nicole is a true digital journalist. Her beautifully curated Instagram account tells the stories of her subjects in vivid visual detail. Through her tweets, she advocates for the rights and safety of journalists working in the world's most difficult surroundings. That advocacy also extends to her involvement in organizations critical to the lives and careers of journalists, like the Frontline Freelance Register and the International Women's Media Foundation. And so I am thrilled and humbled to present the 2018 James Foley Award for Conflict Reporting to Nicole Tongue.
Thank you for that really warm introduction, and thank you to the Online News Association and to the James Foley Foundation. I told myself I'm going to try not to cry when I come up here, and especially to the Foley family. It is really hard to overstate what receiving this award means to me. And more so to have Tom here, who knew Jim so well and for so long. Some of you may know, obviously, that Jim was a very close friend of mine, and to myself and to many others. And so receiving this honor brings many mixed and tender feelings about a friend I miss intensely until this day. I have never met anyone who knew Jim and didn't have a story to tell about him. And Jim, as you said, would maybe have felt shy or embarrassed at having an award named in his memory, because he was, after all, incredibly down to earth. He never hungered for attention. But it is also apt to name it in his memory because I hope that it will highlight the work that journalists and freelancers in particular continue to do to keep the public informed. When you think about it, journalists often form friendships under the strangest circumstances. And the depth of those bonds, even though you may only see each other once a year or once every few years, remain as strong as ever. That was my experience with Jim, multiplied over many months working in Libya and together in Syria. He became a brother to me, and for months we zigzagged across many front lines and discovered the resilience and humanity of people in the darkest of their times. On one particularly difficult day, after covering a series of bombardments on a civilian neighborhood and witnessing what was a bloodbath, we sat in near darkness and lit cigarettes, and Jim gave me a knowing look, as if to say, it's going to be okay. So this is for all the journalists fighting for the truth, and particularly for my fellow freelancers who, despite the risks and limited safety nets that we have, believe that what we do is still necessary, perhaps now more than ever. This is also for the organizations who continue to support us, including the International Women's Media Foundation, the Frontline Freelance Register, the Rory Peck Trust, the ACOS Alliance, CPJ, and many others, as well as the fixers who help us on the ground and those who allow us into their lives. And above all, this is for Jim. For so long after his death, I was haunted by questions of what I could have done to change the outcome, and doubted whether what we do still matters when everything seemed to have been turned upside down. It didn't take long for me to hear Jim's voice in my head, saying that it did and still does matter. And that ultimately, the stories we cover are about those who open their lives and homes to us. At the same time, we have to adapt to the challenges of working in the field to ensure that journalists and our families are supported in the best possible ways. It is easy to go, pack, and fly off to the next story, but it never gets easier for our loved ones who always worry. And I know that because my parents are here tonight. It is to them, my parents and my family and friends, I owe my stability and my sanity when I do come back. Thank you so much for this truly meaningful award.
Thank you, Nicole. Our next category is feature stories. Feature stories are made for the web, and these entries show us why. In the small newsroom, the finalists are Californians. Here's why your housing costs are so high. Cal Matters. Hotspots, NCIA. First Nation Housing, The Discourse. The Little Rock Nine Live, Making Civil Rights History Come Alive Youth Radio. The judges felt the winning package made excellent use of data, graphics, and visualizations to illustrate and clearly explain a complex, multi-layered problem in an engaging and easy-to-digest presentation. And the winner is Californians. Here's why your housing costs are so high. Cal Matters.
Wow, thank you very much. I'm David Lesher. I'm the co-founder of Cal Matters just about 3 years ago. And we're based in Sacramento. And this award is for 3 of our reporters, Matt Levin, our data reporter, and Ben Christopher, our political reporter, and John D'Agostino, our web developer. Part of this, they used a lot of talent and creativity to apply to a very complicated topic, but it's also a topic that they are partly living themselves too. California has a housing crisis that's hard to overstate. The average, or the median home price in California right now is $560,000. It's 2.5 times the median of the nation. It's one of the biggest reasons California has the highest poverty rate in America, and in a state of nearly 40 million people, 40% are in or near poverty. So it's a staggering condition. And so how do you tell that story? At Cal Matters, what we do, we work with state policy, and it's not easy with all the challenges of communicating, let alone the density of the topic, to come up with ways to convey why this is happening. And what Ben and Matt and John did was sit down and really think creatively about how to unpack something that is very complicated. It's a set of text, graphics, questions and answers, and they wove in just enough humor to really make it very approachable and digestible. Matt has I learned how much millennials like avocado toast. I didn't realize that. And what does that have to do with housing costs? But if you check it out, you'll find out. Matt followed, after this came out, we adopted this format for a lot of our explainers. Matt also started a podcast about affordable housing, and he tells an avocado joke in every podcast. So just lastly, some of the things, there's a lot of challenges in media today, especially for a startup nonprofit trying to reach a state the size of California. But with a lot of the tools that we have right now, there's a lot of opportunity for a lot of exciting creativity. And so I think to recognize this new form of storytelling and the people who put it together, and I have to mention overseen by Vicki Haddock, our managing editor too, who did a lot of work on this project. So thank you very much.
For feature reporting for Medium Newsrooms, the finalists are Europe Slams Its Gates, the Pulitzer Center on Crisis Reporting, Foreign Policy. Marshall Islands, The Poison in the Tube, Mashable. Project Nora, The Oregonian, Oregon Live. Judges said this project included good use of infographics and a nice rhythm for reading a piece that kept them engaged. And the winner is Project Nora, The Oregonian, Oregon Live. Do we have anyone here? Can someone shout out if they're here, wave a hand? Okay, we'll move on. And everybody can give them a round of applause one more time. How about that? So features for large newsrooms. In the large division, the finalists are Betrayed. Chicago schools failed to protect students from sexual abuse and assault, leaving lasting damage, the Chicago Tribune. A Betrayal. ProPublica and New York Magazine. The Road, the Globe and Mail. The Next Edition, the Washington Post. The judges felt that the winner embodied journalism at its best. The journalist had to carefully weigh the risks of telling the story of a teen MS-13 member turned informant who was marked for deportation by ICE. And they did so with care, offering powerful writing and video alongside strong storytelling on Twitter, while also explaining their decision-making to the audience. And the winner is A Betrayal, ProPublica and New York Magazine.
Hi, everyone. I'm not Hannah Dreyer. My name is Rachel Glickhouse. I work at ProPublica, and Hannah Dreyer is a colleague and friend of mine. So I just would like to accept this award on behalf of Hannah, Jillian Kumagai, the producer, and editor Alex Zayas. Hannah is such an extraordinary journalist and makes everything look so easy. She came from Venezuela, where she was reporting under incredibly difficult conditions, and came to ProPublica, and this was her first major story. And if you haven't had a chance to read it, I really recommend that you do, because it isn't just an incredible feat of reporting. The writing is some of the best you'll read this year. It tells the story of Henry, a Salvadoran teenager who came to the United States, was part of the MS-13 gang, and informed on them. And using that information, immigration authorities tried to deport him essentially back to his death. And because of Hannah's reporting, his deportation was put on hold, but he is actually still in detention. Any final decision still hasn't been made. So this is an ongoing story that Hannah is continuing to report on. So just on behalf of Hannah and her amazing work, thank you all very much.
We're moving now to the David T. Wynn Student Journalism Award, named in honor of the late managing editor of USA Today. It honors an excellent student package or project that expertly uses digital storytelling and technologies to inform the audience. And two of the awards come with a prize of $500. The finalists in the small category are Alone, University of California, Berkeley. Justice for Who? University of California, Berkeley. Leaving Tracks, the capture of Wolf number 1553, Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication, Arizona State University. The judges were impressed for the winner's effective balance of video, images, and graphics. The storytelling, they said, was disciplined and sharp. And the winner is Leaving Tracks, the capture of Wolf number 1553, Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication, Arizona State University.
Thank you so much for this award. My name is Christina Leonard, and I am the executive editor of Cronkite News at Arizona State University. And the students who did this have moved on from ASU and are now working out in the field, and they couldn't be here tonight. But we are so incredibly proud of the work that they do every semester. I grab Micah here because she's one of our students now. Just to have a representative of our students. We're so proud of what they do, and they work so hard, and it's really, it's a really warm feeling for us, the faculty and the staff who work at the university, to see the amazing things that they can do, and to see kind of the future of journalism. So thank you all for your support, and please keep, hiring our students and supporting us as you can. Thank you.
For the Student Award, finalists in the large group are The Deported, Life Beyond the Border, Journalism USC's Annenberg School of Communication and Journalism. The Perfect Storm, The Eagle, American University. And Aftermath, UNC School of Media and Journalism. The judges said that the winner is another chapterized video experience that did a great job of pulling together each chapter, which also existed as a narrative in its own right. It felt ambitious, but the visuals were so engaging. And the winner is Aftermath, UNC School of Media and Journalism.
Hi, everyone. My name is Connie, and
my name is Danielle.
And we're two student journalists that worked on this project. And first off, I'd like to thank I'd like to thank everyone so much, but most importantly, to everyone that worked on this with us. We couldn't have done it without the help of our 20 or so other odd student journalists, photographers, videographers, reporters, developers, and designers that worked with us tirelessly to do this project over many months, as well as our coaches, Pat Davison, Tamara Rice, and Kate Shepard. But most importantly, we'd like to thank the people in Puerto Rico that we talked to and that opened up their lives to us when we were down there, as well as the students we worked with in collaboration with the University of Puerto Rico, who put in so many hours helping us in translating, as well as the fixers we worked on the ground with.
And we just want to say it's been about a year coming up next week since Hurricane Maria, and we were so glad that we got to tell just a piece of the story that's going on there, but there's so much else to be told. And so we're so glad to see journalism here and elsewhere that's really working to tell people's stories in such a devastating storm. So, thank you, journalism.
Thank you so much.
Our next student award, the Pro-Am Student Award, celebrates innovative ways budding and professional journalists are working together to cover critical issues. This year's finalists are More Than a Mascot, Philip Merrill College of Journalism and Capital News Service. High Six-Man Evolution, University of Oklahoma and the OU Daily. Troubled Water, Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication, Arizona State University, and Carnegie Night News 21. The judges said the winner was a comprehensive and exhaustive look at drinking water issues around the country. Through video, text, and graphics, the package broadened the scope of understanding water inequality across the U.S. And the winner is Troubled Water, Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication, Arizona State University, and Carnegie Night News 21.
Again, thank you very much for this award. It's an amazing project, News 21. The year that we did this, I believe there were 40 students from 19 universities who came and did this project. They worked for 10 weeks. They went all over the country, blood, sweat, tears. They worked really hard. We're incredibly proud of the work that they do. So again, I want to thank you all the partners that we have in the room who picked up their copy and ran with their projects. That means a tremendous amount to us, and the students are thrilled that you support them. So thank you very much.
And now I'd like to welcome the founder and first president of the Online News Association, Rich Jaroslavsky.
Thank you very much. We meet at an extraordinary time for journalism and for journalists. Nothing in our lifetimes, and some of us have lived a lot longer than others, has fully prepared us for the unremitting assault on truth and on those who seek to discover it that we now face every day. Make no mistake, a leader who attacks truth seekers as enemies of the people, who incites hatred of journalists and stops just short of encouraging violence against us, is in the most profound sense possible un-American. As investigations grow ever closer and the threats to this un-American rule grow ever greater, so do the dangers. But for all its perils, this difficult time may paradoxically be a golden moment for journalists. Not only do we have a critically important mission to defend those American values under assault, but we have at our disposal an incredible and expanding array of tools for discovering and disseminating the truth. Now, I'll admit it, I doubt those of us who founded this organization ever expected its members to be facing this kind of existential challenge. But we should all be very glad that ONA has grown and matured into a powerful and respected voice, not only for the practice and possibilities of digital journalism, but also for the values of journalism itself. And that brings me to our honoree for this evening. For no one in this organization's 20-year history has done more to build, nurture, and sustain it than Jane McDonnell, the winner of this year's Rich Jaroslavsky Founder Award. When Jane became ONA's executive director 10 years ago, it was very different than what you see today. In fact, in many ways, it wasn't that far removed from its origins as a grassroots shoestring operation. There was barely enough money to pay for an executive director, let alone to fund new projects and expand the organization. Now, Jane had been a journalist herself. She worked on several New Jersey newspapers, spent more than a dozen years with Knight Ritter's Information Services, and even founded her own company focusing on public access journalism. In her job application to be the ONA executive director, Jane wrote this: "If you are committed to digital journalism, you are committed to change." But I really wonder if even she knew how much change was actually needed. In those early days, ONA was Jane and vice versa. She was the only staffer, and ONA headquarters consisted of any place she happened to be at any given moment, including at home at 10 p.m. on Friday nights, when her husband Larry recalls her fielding calls at home from West Coast members desperate to get added to this or that session at the conference. I guess some things never change. Larry admits that he would sometimes suggest that she just let the phone ring and deal with it on Monday, but to no avail. From the start, Jane saw ONA as her mission, and I think we can all say thank God for that. She brought to ONA a remarkable sense of organization and a remarkable sense of equanimity. She organized the board, and as we all know, corralling a bunch of journalists is a lot like herding cats. She repaired some relationships that had grown frayed, patiently taught generations of ONA leaders how to do their jobs, and charted the course that has led us to where we are today. When Jane arrived, says one former ONA president, I was definitely waiting to see what she brought to the table. Well, turns out she actually brought her own table and an entirely new set of furniture, too. Another former president said, "We were a toddler. She raised us. She grew us. She took us from our awkward adolescent years into adulthood. She was ONA's mom." Now, to be sure, Jane did have her drawbacks. For example, when the job description for executive director was drawn up, we apparently failed to make one of the requirements a functional understanding of basic arithmetic. Every year, it seems like, she had the damnedest time accurately counting how many board seats were open, how many candidates there were. And sure, she could be blunt at times, but she could also be diplomatic. After all, even though she's a devoted New York Giants fan, she somehow coexisted with former President Jim Brady, an equally devoted Jets fan. Now, these days, she and Larry spend most of the year in what sounds like idyllic rustic splendor in Maine. Larry apologizes for not being here tonight, but they're currently in the midst of gutting and remodeling their kitchen And given Jane's lack of facility with numbers, I think he's secretly redoing all the measurements. In any event, we're thrilled beyond measure to have Jane with us tonight. And I am very, very deeply honored to be able to bestow this award upon her. But this is really only a small token of the respect and gratitude and affection that we feel. As the saying goes, if you seek her monument, look around you. Thank you.
I love you too, even though you're killing me, you know that. Rich, where did you go? Thank you so much. Getting this from you is just, a real honor. Thank you. I have O&A laryngitis, so I'm using my Lauren Bacall voice here. I think you all know how much I love O&A. It's family, it really is family, and all of you, by extension, are family. From the board, all of the boards, I've been blessed, to the staff, to the Zen master, Mr. Irving Washington, who deserves his own. If you have to leave an organization in somebody's hands, I suggest this gentleman. So I guess in the 4 or 5 seconds I had to think, I'd like to talk a little bit about how much I love journalism. So I moved to Maine, and I'm kayaking and I'm eating lobster, and communing with nature. And then January 2017 happened, and I watched, feeling really far away, but I watched as my friends and my colleagues, people I respect and I love, were struggling with this just onslaught, trying to get their arms around what was happening in the world. And watched valiantly how they valiantly did that. From everything from what Nicole spoke about, what Rich just talked about. We all know that this is an extraordinary time. And it's not just the extent or the sheer volume of what's coming at you, it's the kind of stuff that's coming at you. I just hope that you know, and I know so many of you, I have so many friends that I'm watching deal with this, and I want you to know from the bottom of my heart, I hope you know how important you are. I hope that every day when you're looking at another bad thing, when you're dealing with a threat, when you're grappling with how to tell somebody's story, making people heard, that I hope you know how important your job is, and I hope you know how important what you do is. I'm going to be watching you and hopefully helping as much as I can. And I'm hoping that also that you're going to be thinking about how to reframe journalism so that we're ready for this kind of threat again, that we know how to respond, that we think about bringing in the voices that are not being heard right now into our newsrooms so that we tell these stories in the best possible way we can. That's all I got, but all I can say is I love you guys. O&A, you know how much I love you. Thank you for this. Thank you for everything.
Thank you, Jane. Next category, sports. We had no finalists in the small and medium category, so we're going to go straight to the large. The finalists are 8 seconds, The Life and Death of a Cowboy, The Globe and Mail. Olympics, The Globe and Mail. The Winter Olympics, The New York Times. The judges noted the amount of information in this easy-to-consume package made it difficult to stop reading and interacting. The multimedia played seamlessly throughout, and it was beautifully done. This package even looks somehow even better on phones than the desktop. And the winner is the Winter Olympics, the New York Times.
Noisy. Thank you very much. I'm Matt Erickson. I'm an assistant managing editor of the New York Times, and very honored to accept this award on behalf of our visuals team and our sports desk for their terrific work during the Winter Olympics. The Olympics have always been a ton of fun for us because it's a place that really has a lot of elements that make for great storytelling and also great experimentation. It's a place where you have multimedia, very rich multimedia. You have immense interest from our readers. You have very rich data. And so it's a place where we can actually experiment and learn what works for storytelling and not. We can take and meld data visualization with audio and video. We can take and experiment with how do we have messenger bots where our reporters communicate with our readers. This is not important not just for covering the Olympics, but it's also a place for us to learn storytelling tools that we can then take and apply in other areas, whether it's covering breaking news and natural disasters, where we're taking some of those learnings and applying them to visualizing the scale of a hurricane tearing through a region, or whether it's covering the political campaign and finding ways for our reporters to interact with our readers. So we're very honored that you recognize our work here and honored to accept the award. Thank you.
Our next award is Excellence in Immersive Storytelling, and here to present this award, let's welcome Valerie Streit, who leads Product and Partner Operations for Google News, to the stage.
This award honors exceptional efforts in storytelling through digitally focused immersive media, such as 360 video, virtual reality, augmented reality, and mixed reality. What about reality? No. Judges considered the journalism behind an immersive project, overall production quality, and innovative use of storytelling techniques. A cash prize of $5,000 for this award is sponsored by Journalism 360. That's a collaboration between the Google News Initiative, the Knight Foundation, and ONA, working towards building a community of immersive storytellers. This year's finalists are Yemen's Skies of Terror, Al Jazeera Contrast. Augmented Reality, David Bowie in 3 Dimensions, The New York Times. Judges said this entry was a standout for its use of perspective, framing, and lighting, and that the use of 360 added to the overall storytelling. And the winner is Yemen's Skies of Terror, Al Jazeera Contrast.
Sorry. I had nothing to do with this project. I'm Tony Karen from AJ Plus. 360 is our sibling organization. And I'm here as a proxy for my ridiculously brilliant and talented colleague and friend, Zahra Rasool, who couldn't be here tonight because she's in Amsterdam getting an IBC award as a global media game changer. And I think, the reason sort of speaks for itself. She asked me to say that she's thrilled that you've chosen to honor our work on Yemen, her work on Yemen, and the suffering of millions of people in Yemen in what is currently world's worst man-made catastrophe. And for her particularly to call out the work of the journalists on the ground who made this happen, Manal Qaid, Al-Wasabi, and Ahmed Al-Gubari, whose courage and commitment obviously shine through in the project. At Jazeera, we're very lucky to have the space and the resources to tell stories that wouldn't exactly drive revenue, but the challenge nonetheless is to take that space and still make something that engages an audience. We still have to make the audience care about those stories. And what they've done, as you see, is putting the faces and the real lived experience of millions of children in Yemen at the forefront and the center of that story. The children who are living the hell of this catastrophe. And Zahra and her team, I think, have done a brilliant job with this piece of creating something that really engages the audience at the human level. We're glad that you agree, and she asked that, in making this award, what you're honoring would also hopefully be a commitment to tell stories like this that we should all be doing our best to do whenever possible. Thank you.
Next up, we have the Al Newthart Innovation in Investigative Journalism Award. Ooh, that was a mouthful. It's a big one. Each award comes with a prize of $4,000. That's cash, not cryptocurrency. In the small grouping, the finalists are the Daphne Project, Forbidden Stories, Digging into the Mining Arc, Info Amazonia and Correo del Caroni, A Broken System, Injustice Watch. Judges noted that aside from the obvious depth of this investigation, the digital presentation also worked to add value to the text without being a distraction. And the winner is Digging into the Mining Arc, Info Amazonia and Correo del Caroni. Give them another round of applause before we move on to the next one. In the medium category, the finalists are On the Fire Line, an investigation into rape, harassment, and retaliation in the U.S. Forest Service, PBS NewsHour. Bombs in Our Backyard, ProPublica. Trump Town, ProPublica. Benefit of the Doubt, The Oregonian, Oregon Live. The judges were impressed with how the winning entry exemplifies how investigative journalists working in partnership with their readers serve as a needed check on government. Their published database was used by numerous news organizations to further serve the public interest by disclosing who's making deals and wielding billion-dollar budgets. And the winner is Trump Town, ProPublica.
Hi, everybody. My name is Scott Klein. I'm an editor at ProPublica. Trumptown was a very large-scale database put together by my colleagues, Derek Kravitz, Al Shaw, and a bunch of other folks at ProPublica that put together the financial disclosure reports, resumes, and all sorts of information from thousands of newly appointed Trump administration officials. What I wanted to say when I started here was that we feel like we've already won the award we really wanted for this, which was that Eric Lipton, a reporter we all look up to, called it a tremendous public service on Twitter. And it was sort of meant to be a joke, and you haven't laughed, but that's okay. But actually, it gets to the point of why we did Trumptown. We made Trumptown to generate great journalism. This is incredibly difficult material to bring together. It's very difficult to line it up with other records, to put these records together, to make any sense of them at all. And so if we can be of use to a journalist like Eric Lipton, then we feel on our team at ProPublica like we've done our job. So thanks very much to everyone who's involved. Thanks very much to OJA for giving us this award. And so thanks very much.
In large newsrooms, the finalists are From Russia with Blood, BuzzFeed News. Betrayed, Chicago schools fail to protect students from sexual abuse and assault, leaving lasting damage, the Chicago Tribune. Toxic City, 6 schools, Philadelphia Media Service. The Neglected Bridges, VG. The judges said that the winning entry had amazing investigative work that weaved together public records and some confidential reports from multiple agencies, including schools, courts, and police dating back 10 years. The analysis revealed the history and scope of the sexual abuse of students and how these cases were frequently mishandled, delayed, or covered up. The web presentation was highlighted by powerful photos and quotes of former students who've come forward. There was also an opening interactive map that made clear how much this issue had impact citywide. The winner is Betrayed. Chicago schools failed to protect students from sexual abuse and assault, leaving lasting damage, the Chicago Tribune.
Wow, I did not expect for us to win this, given who we were nominated with, so thank you, everyone. My name is Chrissy Taylor. I'm the managing editor of audience for the Chicago Tribune. I came in as this project was just coming together online, so I'm really here to give credit to the amazing reporting team, Jen Smith-Richards, David Jackson, Gary Marks, Juan Perez Jr., the editors, George, Karin, our visualists, oh my God, this is crazy. Brian Casella, Cassandra Van Treek, Raquel Zaldivar, the audience team who did an amazing job with the engagement plan for this, Kyle Betts, Elizabeth Wolf, Randy Schaefer, and the folks behind the online development, Jonathan Berlin, Ryan Marks, Kyle Bentel, and Jabal Brinson. I have to say that as soon as we published this story, it had immediate impact. CPS has ran fresh background checks on all of its 44,000 employees. Hundreds have been barred from schools for failure to pass those background checks. The week after publication, Illinois lawmakers introduced a cascade of more than 10 legislative proposals and then held dramatic hearings in response to the Tribune reports. The most sweeping child protection bill had bipartisan support of more than half of the state General Assembly, and those proposed bills will be considered this fall. So again, this just shows the impact of the journalism and that what we do matters. So thank you, everyone.
Next up, we're honoring excellence and innovation in visual digital storytelling. Finalists for the small division are The Last Generation, Frontline and the Ground Truth Project. Gerda, KUER's Radio West. Judges said the winning entry was a balanced tour of trying to tell a story through video with compelling characters that were well-paced and character development using visuals that were strong. And the winner is The Last Generation, Frontline and the Ground Truth Project.
Thank you. I'm going to just say that Ground Truth is so proud to have partnered with PBS Frontline. They are an extraordinary organization to have the honor to work with. And as I told you before, Ground Truth's all about working with the super talented journalists of a new generation, and Katie and Michelle are like unbelievable examples of that. Look, telling the story of climate change is really hard. It's hard to find narratives that can get there. And it was just a thrill and an honor to work with Katie and Michelle, to see the level of craft and the diligence they brought to finding that narrative and telling the story of the Marshall Islands through the eyes of children. So they're going to tell you a little bit about the story.
Well, actually, I wanted to emphasize how much it wasn't just Katie and I who made this story, and as we all know in this room, it takes quite a team to put these stories together when they're so ambitious and they involve so many components. So we wanted to say thank you to the people who worked on this project with us, including Carla Boris, our designer, Dan Nolan, the developers, Lee Chang and Chris Amico, Jason Breslow, our editor, Amy Gaines, who's phenomenal, our composer, Stellwagen Symphonette, the managing editor at Frontline, Andrew Metz, and our executive producer, Rainey Aronson, who really champions partnerships, which are so important in this day and age in journalism, especially we have found, and it was such an honor to get to work with the Ground Truth Project and with Beth Murphy, Marissa Miley, and Charlie Sennett. It was really an honor to work with you on this, so thank you for that. Most importantly, we would like to thank.
We want to thank 9-year-old Iserman, 12-year-old Wilmer, and 14-year-old Julia, the 3 kids who let us hang out with them for a few days and told us about their passions and their fears and their hopes for their future. And it was a real privilege to be able to tell their story, and we're just really grateful for the generosity of the people that we met in the Marshall Islands.
And thank you to the ONAs.
There were no finalists for medium newsroom, so let's move on to the large category where the finalists are. The Uber game, the Financial Times. Thousands cried for help as Houston flooded, the New York Times. The 4 days in 1968 that reshaped DC, the Washington Post. The Waiting Game, WNYC and ProPublica. Judges said that the winning entry was a compelling way to tell a story. They loved being able to compare results to other users and said that it humanized the gig economy, which is easy to miss concern. And the winner is the Uber Game, the Financial Times.
Hi. First, thanks to ONA, and a shout out to all the other organizations and stories that were nominated tonight for this category and all the others. I think we can give a round of applause for all of them, I think. It's a good sign of great innovation in journalism and journalism in general, so proud of that. I'm a small part of this whole project. I'm the head of social at the FT, so I helped with the Instagram story. But I'd like to shout out everyone who had a bigger role in that. The reporter Leslie Hook, Robin Kwong, David Blood, Rebecca Turner, Callum Locke, Andrew Rinsman, Nikolai Knoll, and Joanna Cow. But I think that long list shows that this was a real team effort. This game was built on reporting and journalism and all the things that go into all the stories that we do. It shows that we set out to tell a side of a story that we've written a lot of different ways, but hadn't quite shown in such an illustrative way that let people know into the side of the gig economy and what it's like for Uber drivers that so many of us rely on all the time, which is really important. And, there's a big tech disruption in journalism, and we all feel it all the time. A lot of this conference has been about it, but I think this shows that there's a lot of tools also coming out and a lot of ways we can tell stories, and that's really exciting too. So I think this and all the other nominees in this category are a good example of that and are a good reminder that, despite all of this, there's a lot of exciting things going on. So that's great. So that's it. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it.
There's a new category this year that's the Excellence in Collaboration and Partnerships. And this award honors newsrooms and companies who have formed partnerships or collaborations to cover a topic or a story with a digital focus. This year's finalists are Verificado 2018, AJ Plus Español, Animal Político, and Pop-Up Newsroom. The Paradise Papers, Secrets of the Global Elite, the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists, Süddeutsche Zeitung, the New York Times, The Guardian, and more than 90 other media partners. Crossing the Divide, the Ground Truth Project, and WGBH. The judges said that the winner was not only a collaboration between newsrooms, but also with the audience, making them part of this engaging project. And they were impressed by the use of multiple platforms, including multimedia and WhatsApp. They said it was truly a collaboration beyond journalists that included universities and the public. The winner is Verificado 2018, AJ Plus Español, Animal Político, and Pop-Up Newsroom.
Thank you, everyone. Good night. I'm Alba Mora, and I'm here with Fergus Bell and Ann Xiao. We are here on behalf of a big team of partners who are not here. I wish they could be here with us to share this moment. This was a big collaboration to fight fake news in Mexico during the presidential campaign. As you know, this is a titanic effort. So this award is for each and every one of the team members for this initiative that gathered more than 90 media organizations, but also universities, NGOs, and a community of audience who was deeply involved. I would like to give a special shout out to Animal Político, which is a digital native outlet in Mexico, to the team of fact-checkers, and to Daniel Moreno and Tania Montalvo, who are not here but were leading the team. I would like to give thanks to Tom Trewinard from Pop-Up Newsroom, who helped us to frame and design the initiative and train us with the latest tools. And of course, to the kick-ass team at AJ Plus Español. They have done incredible work to bring back the journalism to every timeline of the people of Latin America, which is very important in our times, to really do solid journalism that's shareable and understandable for everyone. And I just want to end this saying that, you know, you are not alone here in the US with a fake news situation and the whole misinformation campaigns. This is a global phenomenon and that needs each of us from our different organizations and citizens, civil society, everyone needs to be involved. And we are the bunch of crazies that really, truly believe that the future of journalism is collaborative. Thank you.
Up next to present this year's inaugural Community Award, we have Kim Bowie and Shazna Nessa.
Hi, I too have the laryngitis. I was trying to solve journalism and fix patriarchy for way too long last night. I'm super excited about this new award, which is meant to honor the kind of people that O&A is made out of. The unsung heroes, the ones who work super hard behind the scenes. O&A is a family, and we are a family of misfits, nerds, and beloved people. And this award, we decided we wanted to give you the opportunity to pick somebody who is just as amazing but needs to be heard. So,
hi everyone. I am absolutely over the moon to present this inaugural O&A Community Award to someone very special. Someone who has inspired and championed digital journalists at the intersection of technology, data, and design. Someone who has shaped a community, helped shape a community that is in deep sympathy with inclusivity. Moreover, This person has done this work from behind the scenes. So I remember going to an event that this person was involved in creating at the NICAR conference not too long ago, and it was called the Lonely Coders Lunch. When I got there, I realized that the Lonely Coders were actually some of the most well-rounded and confident journalists that I'd met in a while. And I think this is a testament to some of the work that, some of this person's work that has empowered these kinds of newsroom roles over the last few years. And this person's name is Erica Owens.
Well, this is a huge surprise. I definitely don't have a cell phone ready with anything to say. But thank you so much. Definitely so grateful for this award and for this community and all of the folks who I've gotten to meet and work with through this work, and to see all of the ways that the folks who work at this intersection between journalism and technology have been pushing for change for a long time. As we heard for 20 years, what that change can look like in terms of digital and doing journalism online, but also more and more about what that change can look like, as Shazana mentioned, for inclusive, respectful, representative newsrooms that have leadership that reflects the diversity of this community, the diversity of this country. So really, really thrilled to be able to support and be a part of this work, and very overwhelmed. So thank you all very much.
So, hi, how y'all doing? We're like that close to the bar, like that close. We're really almost there. So about this time in the program, the chair of the OJAs, that's me, usually gives a speech about the state of journalism and what the Online Journalism Awards mean. We can all agree it's been a whirlwind of a year, in a good and bad sense. But the best part of ONA, and what I hear brings people back every year, is that this is an organization that is hopeful in the face of adversity. Next year will be our 20th anniversary. And what an organization we are. Our hope has stood for so much more of late. Despite dwindling press freedom, attacks on journalists, and declining trust in media, here we are at the end of a conference that focused on the future of our industry, experimentation, working more closely with our audiences, and making some money while we're at it. That is what the world needs right now. We need more of the excitement, the hope, the energy that we all have gathered at this conference. I always talk about journalism as a calling, as many of you do. We're not in this for the cold election night pizza or for our abysmal salaries, but because we all believe in the power of democracy and storytelling. ONA supports this during the conference, but also through leadership training, local networks, fellowships, funding for innovation in education and new technology. And you, we, all of us here, are the markers of hope. This year at ONA, we have been looking more deeply at our mission and the cause and the people we serve. We know that ONA is a name that stands for a wave of change makers. Tonight, you are seeing the currents pushing that wave. The winners who have crossed the stage and the ones that soon will have produced outstanding work despite layoffs, uncertainty, and a heap of other adversity. The strength of the work we are recognizing tonight is one of the many reasons I am proud to be part of this organization. So let's keep all that wave going as we go home tomorrow. Press on. Keep pushing. Do more. Launch that new project. Take on that new role. Try that new tactic. Apply for that O&A program, like really apply. Organize that local action or event. Do all of it, and know that O&A is here to support you. But also, take a break every once in a while and think back to tonight and remember, or your favorite moment from this past few days. Remember, we are not all doom and gloom. We are hope. And we will keep creating a future for that hope together. Thank you, all of you, everybody in this room, so much for your work, for O&A, for journalism, and for your communities. So let's give away some more awards. Sorry, this got messed up. I am here to introduce Amelie. Sorry. Amelie. We were prepared, y'all. We did a dress rehearsal and everything. Hi, Amelie. Hi. Amelie is here for the Gannett Foundation Award for Technical Innovation in the Service of Digital Journalism.
Good evening. I'm honored to be here tonight to present the Gannett Foundation Award, which recognizes technical innovation and service of digital journalism. This year's finalists are transforming the way we work and the way in which our work reaches people. The finalists are the Washington Post, ARC Publishing, and Trent. Judges said, this product, which uses artificial intelligence to power an automated transcription platform, has wide general use, making information more accessible and democratized worldwide. This year's winner is Trent.
I'm shocked because I'm a reporter. And if you told me 10 years ago that I'd be up here as a CEO and entrepreneur, my name is Jeff Kaufman, I'm CEO and founder of Trent, I would have said, there's no way they're going to carry me out of the newsroom feet first. I'm a journalist. Well, I'm still a journalist. And let me tell you that in my journey after 30 years of being a reporter, foreign correspondent, war correspondent, to becoming an entrepreneur, an inventor, if there's one thing I've learned, it's that the solutions to the future of journalism are in this room and in your newsrooms. Don't look for angels to come from above to save our industry. We know what the problems are, and if we know what the problems are, we know how to create the solutions. And that was the principle behind Trent. And let me tell you something else I've learned in 4 years as an inventor and entrepreneur. Journalism is surprisingly, actually shockingly good training for entrepreneurship. We don't take no for an answer. We're shameless at asking stupid questions. We know how to find answers to things we don't know. We're fearless, or at least we pretend to be. And we are tenacious as hell. And all of that is what innovation and entrepreneurship is about. I'll tell you the thing that I don't know how to do, it's how to read a balance sheet. And that's been the hardest part. Wouldn't have minded a little financial training, but I got that on the job and hired some smart people to help me. When we began building Trent as an idea in my head with a really brilliant team of developers, I thought it would be really satisfying if we could do it. And it has been incredibly rewarding. The thing that I never knew, because I had never as a reporter managed people, hired people, and nurtured people, is that as rewarding as it is to see Trent roll out and see it adopted by many of the news organizations in this room, the thing that actually really gets me emotional is the team.
We've now grown from a team 4 years ago of 4 people, a year ago of 10. We're now 40, 36 in London and 4 in our brand new office in Toronto, Trent, North America. And I have to say, I've been involved in the hiring of every one of them, and it is so rewarding and so satisfying. I love coming out here to talk about Trent. I can't wait to get back to our office to talk about the next innovations in the pipeline. But to O&A, and I also want to do a shout out to the Knight Foundation that backed us very early, and the Google Digital News Innovation Fund that has supported us. Thank you very much.
We're almost there, you guys. The big finish, the General Excellence Awards, which honor the overall output of small, medium, and large media. Each award comes with a prize of $5,000. This year, thanks to the Democracy Fund, a new size category was also introduced, micro. So let's start with that. In the micro newsroom division, the finalists are postdata.club, Public Source, the New Food Economy, and The Trace. And we have a tie. The judges noted that one winner delved deeply into the incredibly important topic of gun violence and stayed true to their mission of shedding light into gun statistics by using smart partnerships and data visualization. They leveraged their limited resources well, creating impact and even making the data open for other journalists. The other winner, they said, punches above its weight, unafraid to mix platforms or release data. It's a tough job to do anywhere, but almost inconceivable to do a great job in a place where people didn't even know it was possible. The winners are Post Data Club and The Trace.
This is awesome. Shout out to the micro category. Thanks, O&A. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. This is an incredible honor. We are a small, scrappy staff of 15 journalists working very hard in between the big shootings that we all hear about to cover the issue every day. We watchdog the NRA. We cover the experiences of gunshot survivors, and we investigate the ways in which this issue impacts Black and brown communities across the country. So to our peers, to our partners, to future partners in this newsroom, in this room, thank you so much for this honor. And we're just getting started, so thank you for your support, and thank you for being such wonderful champions of our work. Thank you. And congratulations to the other one.
Moving on to the small newsroom division, the finalists are Long Reads, The Marshall Project, The Texas Tribune. The judges says the winner combined a laser-like focus on a single topic with gripping reporting and state-of-the-art use of multimedia and technology. The winner is The Marshall Project.
I want to thank ONA for honoring the Marshall Project. For those who don't know, we are a small digital nonprofit newsroom based in New York that covers the criminal justice system. I also want to recognize the inspiring work being done by our fellow finalists at Long Reads and the Texas Tribune, both of whom we've had the pleasure of working with in the past few years. This award is especially meaningful for us because since our inception in 2014, we have invested in creative ways to tell our stories online. We use audio, video, data, and interactive features to bring our reporting to life. And because we believe that it is through creative online presentation that our readers can feel our stories viscerally. For example,
Our team recently worked with This American Life on a moving story about a high school located inside of the New Orleans adult jail, where kids must live dual lives as both students and prisoners. For our online presentation, we built an immersive experience that wove portraits of the teenagers and their voices into the narrative of the article. We also created a powerful series of short films called We Are Witnesses, where people whose lives have intersected with the criminal justice system speak directly to the camera, telling their stories. Taken together, the series reveals the great and tragic toll that the system takes on all who encounter it. Of course, this type of work is a team effort, and I can't say enough good things about the dedicated, talented, and small team who so tirelessly work next to me in our New York offices and around the country. This recognition by ONA is for all of them and also honors the deeply reported, fact-based journalism that we practice daily. On behalf of everyone at the Marshall Project, thank you for this honor.
Let's move now to our finalists in the Medium Newsroom Division. The Austin American Statesman, ProPublica, Quartz, Reveal from the Center for Investigative Reporting. The judges stated for the winner that their impactful and extensive coverage of U.S. policy, from their impactful and extensive coverage of U.S. policy to their expertise at data-heavy investigations with a CMX and UX overhaul to boot, the winner had an impressive year. They deftly tackled and effectively presented complex topics. They lead the way in collaborative reporting, both across newsrooms and between journalists and the audience. The winner is ProPublica.
I was sitting next to David earlier tonight and saying I didn't think that I was probably going to be doing this tonight, and he was just very calm. He lied to me. Anyway, this is a very special year for ProPublica to receive this award. This is our 10th anniversary, and thank you very much. As part of that, we've been doing a lot of talk about our mission of driving impact as part of the meaning behind our work. And this was a mission that was laid out by our founder, Paul Steiger, 10 years ago, and I think has continued to be something that has driven innovation forward in our newsroom, led by Stephen Engelberg, our editor-in-chief, Dick Toffel, our president and co-CEO, and Robin Fields, our managing editor. This mission of driving impact has really informed, I think, a lot of the decisions we make about how we tell stories, and given our reporters the freedom to pursue stories that have meaning and can drive impact, and given them the freedom to choose the tools that will help them tell those stories best. The things that we featured in our application this year were our Documenting Hate project, which has relied on crowdsourcing and partnerships and the relationships with everyone in this room, so thank you very much for your part in all of this. Our series on maternal mortality, which was another crowdsourcing heavy investigation that drew heavily on reaching into communities and asking them for their help in telling these stories. And The Waiting Game, which looked at asylum in the United States through an interactive project. This was a passion project driven by one of our reporters, Cece Wei, who's now a deputy managing editor, I believe. At any rate, the whole team in our organization has been a big part of this, and we are now over 100 reporters, editors, designers, developers, videographers, producers, and other journalists and staff helping make all of this meaningful work happen. So 10 years in, I continue to be a believer that we are inspired by, supported by, and spurred forward by everyone in this room, so thank you very much.
And the award for general excellence for a large newsroom, the finalists are the New York Times, the Washington Post, Vox.com. The judges believe that the winner continues to push the industry forward on several fronts, ranging from an industry-used CMS to having a presence on Reddit. While their tech innovations are exemplary, their journalism this year has been exceptional, including their coverage on Roy Moore, the Russian hacking scandal, and so much more. They truly show us what a modern, digitally diverse news organization needs to be. The winner is The Washington Post.
Wow, this is awesome. This is very cool. First, I want to thank ONA for this amazing award in recognition of a total team effort from the Washington Post. I think this award sort of represents what the Washington Post has become as a sort of a full-fledged media and tech company. We've meshed both sides of the organization now, and we're finding better ways to tell stories, better ways for our users to experience our products, and better ways for publishers to get their stories out. I think it all starts at the top of our organization. I want to thank Jeff Bezos just for giving us the trust and the runway to experiment and take chances. I also want to thank Fred Ryan, Marty Barron, Shailesh Prakash. Those are the guys who really push us every day to try different things and encourage us to take risks, from everything from building a new CMS an industry standard CMS that everyone's using now, to experiments with Reddit and the Lily, and just going all over the place, trying to find new audiences, reach them where they are, not exactly waiting for them to come to us. So, as I said, this is awesome, and a total team effort and total team win, and very excited for this. Thank you.
Ooh, let's give a round of applause to all of our finalists and winners before we say goodnight this evening. So that does it for this year's Online Journalism Awards. Congratulations again to all the finalists and winners. Thanks again to all of our judges and our screeners. Thank all of you for coming to this conference. Safe travels home, and we'll see you next year in New Orleans. Good night, everyone.